Everybody wants financial freedom. We talk a lot about the FIRE movement, which is financially independent, retire early. We talk about compound interest. We talk about side hustles. We talk about stock market returns. But did you know that there's actually a silent thief sitting in your room right now? And it's not inflation, and it's definitely not the stock market. It's your ego. Most people don't have a math problem, they have an image problem. And today we're breaking down exactly how your ego is sabotaging your financial future and the 3 shifts you need to make to reclaim your freedom. Now, before we jump into it, I just want to introduce myself for anybody who's new out there. I'm Lisa. I'm a financial advisor. I have been for over 15 years, and I help people get to financial freedom. And as I work with people, we talk about these common mistakes that happen, like the ego, and we try to avoid them so that you can get to your financial freedom as quickly as possible. Okay, so here's the biggest way your ego kills your planning. It's through lifestyle creep. You knew I was going to talk about it. It's so important. So I'm going to repeat it over and over again, and I want you to hear it over and over again so it sinks in. So what is lifestyle creep? Lifestyle creep is the moment that you get a raise or bonus and your ego starts to whisper to you, "You've worked hard. You should buy it. You deserve it. You deserve to show people you made it." That's really what it's saying to you. And so you go out and you spend and you feel like it's just for right now. And suddenly your needs expand to fit your new income. No new savings happen. Now you're just spending everything you bring in again. And this leads to the comparison trap, which really is best put by Dave Ramsey, who I believe was loosely quoting quoting Fight Club, the movie. That's what I meant to say. When he says, "You buy things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't like." I don't agree with Dave Ramsey on everything, but that I totally agree with. So when you prioritize looking wealthy over being wealthy, you are trading your future freedom for a temporary hit of dopamine. Every dollar you spend on a depreciating asset to impress some neighbor or friend is a dollar that isn't compounding for you in whatever investing you are doing that fits for your planning. And so stop doing that. And we'll talk about how to stop in our solutions. Another thing your ego is doing is playing the expert, the financial expert. And so financial freedom really requires some humility. And the humility to admit that you probably can't outsmart the entire market, and you're not smart in every single aspect of finance, no matter what your job is, no matter what your specialty is. You probably don't know about all different aspects of financial planning, and that's okay. But you have to admit that. And so when we don't admit that, there are ego-driven investing that can really screw us up. And here's just a couple of examples. One is performance chasing. Have you ever bought a stock because a friend told you it was great and you didn't want to look stupid, be left behind, so you bought it without doing any research and without looking if it fit into your entire plan? Performance chasing. Another is refusing to diversify. Some people believe that they have a gut feeling and that their gut feeling is going to be 80% of professional hedge fund managers. They don't necessarily think that, but that's what they're saying when they say, "I know that this is the area to be in." I mean, unless the hedge fund managers have already gone there, then you've kind of missed the opportunity. And if they haven't gone there, well, do you really think you know something they don't know? You might, I guess, but probably not. And the last one is a sunk cost fallacy. So, have you ever bought something or made a trade so bad and you hold on to it because you just won't admit that you were wrong and it goes to zero or close to it, I should say? That really can be a problem, holding on because you just don't want to be wrong. That is definitely ego. So true financial freedom comes from boring consistency, but the ego hates boring, right? They want to be the genius that found the next big thing. That's what our ego wants. But, honestly, that's just not reality. And then the last thing that your ego is doing to you is really the hardest pill to swallow. To reach financial independence, you have to live below your means for a long period of time, if not your entire life. And your ego sees a budget as a restriction. It sees saying no to an expensive dinner as a sign of weakness or failure. But let's be real. Financial freedom is the ability to say no to a job you hate, not the ability to say yes to a $150 steak. So if you're afraid of being judged for driving an older car or living in a smaller house, that means your ego's in the driver's seat. And that driver is heading straight towards a retirement of just getting by or who wants to live like that? Don't we want financial freedom? Yes, we do. So let's go into a couple of things, 3 things to be exact, that you can do to kind of get one up on your ego and hopefully take that out so that you can get to your financial freedom. One is automation. You hear me talk about this all the time, but this specific way of doing automation is really important. So set it up so that your savings leaves your bank account the day you get paid or maybe the day right after. If you never see the money, your ego will not find a way to spend it, and have it go to whatever assortment of different investments work for your planning, of course. Another one is to define enough. I've talked about this before, but I really want you to do this. Write down what a free life looks like to you. Is that working in a different field? Is that getting a different degree? Is that spending time with grandkids or kids? Or what does that mean? Not what it looks like on Instagram, for you. And start imagining your perfect Saturday. Because I always say retirement or financial freedom is a whole lot of Saturdays strung together, I should say. So, what does your perfect Saturday look like? Does that look like grilling a steak in your backyard, having a beer, or does that look like being on a world cruise? Those are very different. But you need to know what you actually want and not what society and the noise is telling you. The last one, I don't think I've talked about before, but this is a really important one. It's calculating your opportunity cost. So the next time you want to buy something, look at and calculate out what that money would look like and be worth in 20 years. So let's take an example. Let's say you have a $500 pair of shoes. I have no idea why anybody would pay that much for shoes, but I digress. $500 pair of shoes. And you calculate it out and you say, okay, I need a 9 to 10% rate of return annually for 20 years. That would be $3,000. So you are really spending $3,000 of future money. Is that worth the ego boost right now? I mean, in 20 years, you won't even probably remember the pair of shoes that you bought. And to do this, there's tons of online calculators that you can use to calculate this out very quickly when you're tempted to buy something for the show of it or to, that ego talking to you. But I will tell you a couple of things. When you do something, I said 9 to 10%. You've got to find a rate of return that works for you and your risk tolerance. So 9 or 10% might be too high. I wouldn't say it's too low, but it might be too high to calculate that out. Also, remember these calculators kind of show a 9 or 10% rate of return every single year for 20 years. That's not realistic or guaranteed, obviously, in the markets. So just keep this in mind. This is not a calculator to show you your investment growing. It's really to show you what, your dollar being spent now could do for you in the future. It is to show you and force you to see your future impact. So just remember, financial freedom isn't about how much you make. It's about how much you keep and how little you care about what others think of your balance sheet. As usual, be safe, be strong, be kind to one another, and we will see you at the next video. Bye-bye now.